Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Facebook. This is Thursday. It's 10 o'clock in the morning in the UK, and this must be Blabbing for Britain, episode 80. And the crew are here, the gang are here. We've been here since forever, and it's good morning, Peter.
Good morning.
And good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, Stephen and Peter.
Now, we must try and keep this a politics-free zone today, but it is an interesting day. I went out to vote. Well, I don't know. I'm just trying to play the card. I went out to vote first thing this morning well, it's our right to vote, and let's hope some of the 19 million who didn't vote last time vote this time round.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Peter was there at this crack of dawn, and I'll be going later on. But
Right.
I just hope that all the youngsters do actually get out there and vote. Please go out and vote. It's bloody important. It really is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it is the one time that you can exercise the right to vote and make a difference, because this is it. This is deciding the government for the next 5 years. And if you don't vote now, then I think if you don't vote now, you can't complain later, can you?
Absolutely. And those people that say, well, it won't make any difference to me, I'm not going to vote. Well, listen, if you don't vote, you really haven't got a say in anything, because what would my vote make? What difference would my vote make? Well, listen, if you don't vote and your mum doesn't vote and your sister doesn't vote and then your uncle doesn't vote and their offspring don't vote and their auntie doesn't vote and your friend doesn't vote and their mother and father don't vote, it'll soon build up over the nation, and then that's why we'll have apathy, and that's why the people that have got the right frame of mind to go and vote, they can vote for who they want. But those people that don't vote, they should look in the mirror and say, have I really got a say in society?
They'll have a say in society, Pete, but they just won't have actually said anything at the right bloody time. This is the time to do it. This is the time to do it, to tell them how you think, what you think. As Pete says, if you don't do it, then
On that note, given that we've had our say, it's time to bring in John, and we can get another view on today's events.
Ta-da!
There we go.
Oh, he's got his squeaky bunny accent again.
Let's lighten the mood. Right, we'll try again.
Was that a new effect, a new version?
That was so funny. He wanted to get something off his chest.
Okay, John, go, baby.
Hello.
I was saying that I cannot get Dusty Bin out of my head every time I get that 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. 3, 2,
Well,
1.
3, 2, 1. So, guys, Lord Red, how are you today?
Oh, you're in trouble. Bloody morphing graphics.
I used a program that merged half of Lord Red's face with half of his leader's face. It wasn't amused.
Stu wasn't very pleased, so you're on the
oh, good
step now. So you be bloody careful today, mate.
No. I'm very careful. I'll be voting Lib Dem today, so because a vote for Labour is wasted where I live because they came fourth last time round. So,
well, it turns out that Stoke South, where I am, is now a marginal. Amazingly, for the first time in 100 years, it's now bleeding marginal.
And what did it used to be?
It's always been Labour and Stoke South. It's always been Labour and Stoke, but there's a danger that if people don't go out to vote today...
Solihull was created in 1974. It was Conservative.
Yeah.
Then 2 elections ago, shock happened. The Lib Dems won by 94 votes.
Wow.
And she was so active that she retained it. when the next time came round. Honestly, we saw her on the doorstep 3 or 4 times a year, and I mean on my own doorstep, not, there. And then became the big disappointment from the coalition, and she lost the seat to the Conservatives by about 4,000 votes. And I haven't seen this Julian Knight fella at all, other than on the telly. Yeah. So, interestingly, there was a local poll that said that the Lib Dems would win with 48% of the vote in Solihull. It was only when you read down the bottom you discovered that they'd only interviewed 21 people.
Now, I'll tell you what you should really watch. Watch Scotland this time, right? So they had, what was it, 56 MPs?
Yeah.
All SNP, weren't they? Every single one.
Watch it this time. I'd be interested to see how it goes, because the referendum question has absolutely sickened people, And people, I was beside I don't know why, but I happened to be beside a Conservative tent thing in the middle of the city, and I was chatting away, and a guy come up, and he says, and there was something about signing for no second referendum. And this guy come up, he says, where is it? Where's this thing you sign? And the guy says, here. And I says to him, he says, the local Conservatives have done a deal with Labour, Labour, and people are not happy about it. So some sort of coalition locally. And he says, and the Conservatives here, they've done a coalition. And I says, you do realise you're at a Conservative tent? He goes, I know that. He says, but I'm signing the petition for no second referendum. So that was his main thing for coming to the tent. So politics is really split. If you don't want a second referendum, you're not going to vote for the SNP. If you don't, but if you're a Labour supporter, some of them are going to support Labour because of Jeremy Corbyn, because of the man. And they're signing Conservative for the first time in their life. So politics has been absolutely wonderful to watch just recently. And
stable and strong. That's the answer. Stable and strong.
Stable and strong,
Teresa keeps telling me.
Yeah. Well, I think she will be. I mean, let's go into this part. She's a woman that will not be pushed. She will just sit there, and she's biding her time to be stable and strong and steady.
This is what the Conservatives sent me in Solihull.
Right.
Yeah. It does have some localised stuff on the inside, but the outside's all about Teresa. Strong.
Got a woman who changed.
Shall I show you what Labour sent me?
Go on then. Nothing.
Shall I show you what the Lib Dems hand delivered? Very nice. A3 local thing. That was the first.
Right.
Then I got a booklet. The second. Right. And then yesterday, just to remind us, old Abe came round and hand-delivered them himself.
Yeah.
Didn't get excited. So they're certainly determined to have a good go in Solihull.
Yeah, it looks like it. Do you know, I've had about one person knock at my door, and that was Labour. Was it Labour? And I says, I'm the only Tory in the street. I says, but tell me what you've got, sucking.
But if he started numerically at number 1, he would have got the Tories first.
Well, we are number 1. We are number 1. So it's been fascinating, and how things are. We've got a long-term with the local council. We've got a long-term Labour councillor who's never out the papers and etc., and run the city. He's been ousted. And the man that he ousted from Labour in council, ousted him, he's come back as the mayor. We call it the Lord Provost. And he's not even elected. It's just going crazy. Crazy. So, who do you think, Stephen, who do you think is going to win in your area? What do you think you're going to end up on?
Close to call, Peter.
Really?
It all depends on the youngsters.
Right.
All along. And you know the votes that the polls which said there was a 1% gap, they then said that, between the Labour and the Tories, they said that poll was taking into account a very high young people vote.
Yes.
So every poll you see these days, you have to say, well, what's the context of that poll?
Yeah.
And if the algorithms are put in place to say it's a 20% turnout, of which this amount of youngsters are voting, so you can't tell. You can't make it. It's just as ever. It's just a snapshot in time for that. For that day. So I got some smiles when I was delivering my leaflets, which is a no measure or anything, but we won't know. I don't know, mate. I know that I've mentioned it on previous blabs. We've got a Labour councillor, a Labour MP in the constituency next door to mine in Newcastle under Lyme, Paul Farrelly, and his majority was 650 last time.
Right.
And UKIP did a good show. So the UKIP votes collapsed, I think, and they're going to the Tories. So it's who the hell knows? The only thing we do know is that if you're young and if you vote, you'll make a bloody big difference.
Well, here's the thing I thought was clever about Corbyn, bit of marketing. We'll give you £10 an hour minimum. We'll write off your student debt. Wow, what a bribe. If I was a youngster, I'd be going, this is great. And but somebody's got to pay for it long term. But a nice little sweetener to get them in.
Yeah.
That would work in England, wouldn't it? But not in Wales and Scotland.
Why?
No, because we get free university places
Free
in
university
Scotland.
in those two places.
In Wales and Scotland?
Yeah.
In Scotland anyway, yeah, we're free.
Free prescriptions in Wales as well.
Free prescriptions in Scotland. Yeah, but she was challenged on that, saying, listen, why don't you charge an extra penny in a pound? She got, this was another night in Scotland. Why don't you charge a penny in the pound more for Scotland? Because Scotland could put up their taxes, you see. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
But she just will not put up anything and saying, take that penny and put it into the National Health Service alone. But no, she would rather give out freebies all the time. Do you realise to get a packet of aspirin in Scotland, right, it cost about 17 pence or something? In reality, to go through, I actually get through the National Health because of my condition. I mean, that's costing us about 25 quid or something. Don't quote me on that price, but
paracetamol.
Yeah, 10, 11 pounds. If you get anything like that, I mean, I went and the doctor says, right, you're getting this and you're getting that. And my partner's a nurse and she says, did you get that in prescription? That's what you gave me. She goes, you can get it for 25 pence or 17 pence. And that actually goes through, and that equates to about 11 pounds, I think it is, for that item. That's what it costs. Now, as a diabetic, I get everything free anyway, so does diabetics in England. But people that really need it. But if you go to the doctor for any ailment, they should say, if I give you a prescription for aspirin, it's going to cost us this £11. If I say that you need aspirin, go and buy it from the shop, you know. And that's the sort of things that's happening. Winter fuel allowance. Does a millionaire, do the rich people need a fuel allowance? Well, probably not. In Scotland, they get it no matter what, because we're a colder climate. I would rather, if I was a rich man, I'd say, hey, listen, give it to that lady along the road. Give her my £10 or £100. She needs it more than me. So it's very difficult, you know, very difficult. And food banks, let me tell you about food banks. I know a guy that runs a food bank, and it got so bad. He had a couple of, it was foreign people turned up, and and they give it without authority. And they said, right, could you give us your name, and your address and your occupation and your wage. They refused to do it and they turned around and walked out. You know what they done? They were both doctors. And when they were asked for wages, etc., they turned around and walked out. But not because they were two doctors making plenty of money.
They're on 80 grand a year, doctors, aren't they?
They were taking advantage of the system. That's why food banks now, the ones I know now, you've got to be referred by welfare or the council or somebody's got to, because people were walking in and just getting, oh, I'm hungry, could you give me this food? Could have been anybody, could have been me. I don't need a food bank. But I could have went down and said, hey, any chance of a bag of food? So now they're restricting it, and that is the truth. And the two doctors just taking advantage of the system, you know. Anyway, that's enough from me. I'm exhausted. I'm out of breath. But
I think we've all had enough of it.
Sorry, Peter said he wanted a break, so I thought, that's my in. Right, Tish asked a question earlier, which I'll put up again, which is it improper to ask who you gentlemen voted for? I'm going to go first, and then say I went out to vote this morning, voted Lib Dem. And to go back to Stephen's point, I also, and John's point as well, I was active in the local area, delivering leaflets for the Lib Dems, and we did a similar quantity to what John subscribed, told us about. And we went around 4 times delivering leaflets in the last 2 weeks and engaging with people. We got lots of smiles. We got the odd no thank you, but we didn't get bitten, which is always the danger. But I voted Lib Dem.
Me too.
Go on, Pete. Go on, John.
Me too. I'm voting Lib Dem.
I'm voting for the Labour Party, and the funny thing I found yesterday was the difference in letterboxes. There are so many different letterboxes, ranging from dead easy, push through to getting through bristles, barnacles, gates, and all sorts of crap. But no, Labour person, got to vote for Labour, and there you go.
I take your point on letterboxes. Some people don't want to receive letters.
Nope.
They've got the box on the door, but try and get any leaflet through, and it just won't go.
Nope. And then you've got the boxes on the gates, you've got the boxes outside, you've got some sort of secure. Yeah, people saying don't put any newsletters through here. So
a little funny story about letterboxes, not political at all. But I buy a lot of plants in as rooted cuttings, and they come in a tray, usually about so big, that wide, and about that deep, and about that thick. And we've been having them delivered to the house for years. Yeah, every year for years. And I probably have 10 of these trays a year. And the other week, I opened the front door to the porch and to go into the porch, and there's a tray lying on the floor, and it's been folded in half to ram it through the letterbox. We never locked the porch door. All they got to do was open it and drop it inside. But apparently we've got a relief postman. But half the plants were knackered, because they've been folded in half to shove through there. And it says, handle with care in 2-inch high letters all the way across.
I know.
Postman.
Well, I might as well let you know who I voted for. I don't know if you can imagine who it is.
I think you voted blue.
I can see you an SNP person through and through.
So this is for Tish. I voted Conservative. In America, that would be a Republican. But let me tell you why. Because we need strong people
to
defend our country.
I can't deal with this.
We need to tighten up on terrorism. Too much wishy-washy, wringing our hands on terrorism. We are going to see to them in the future. We're going to look after our country. So that's why we need somebody strong. We need to get that man. And hey, listen, I'll tell you something else. I predict a landslide.
Conservative.
A landslide. All those little women that are sitting in, they'll be taken out and putting the X against Conservatives.
You've gone off.
Yes. So that's just part of it. But what I hope for is whoever gets in, I just hope that the nation says, right, that's what's been voted in. Let's get on with it and make this country great again. Yeah.
No, come on. If the Tories get in, they'll be selling off the NHS bit by bit. Social care will go crazy. It's just a recipe for disaster, and you know it. So don't come back. And Brexit, oh Christ, don't even start on Brexit. The Tories are a disaster waiting.
And all those extraditions that people have hidden for a year and just letting them walk about and say, oh, you're needed, mate. Get on that bus. You're leaving our country. But I've been here 3 years. I know, but you should have left 2 years before. Get out.
Okay.
I'd just like to point out that the Prime Minister in waiting was Home Secretary during the whole period that you're talking about, Peter.
Absolutely.
And has been bloody useless at it.
There are differing opinions on that, and you know which side I'm on, Stephen. But let's. I think that the one thing that the election stopped for a day, or electioneering stopped for a day, and we had. I'm just putting the word London up. I'm not going to fully do it, but we had another attack in London this time, and since we've been doing this show, we've had 3 attacks in 3 months. And Peter rightly says that there are things that could have been done which weren't done. But my feelings go out to everybody who is in London and Manchester because of what's happened over the last 3 months. And I think whatever shade of government, whatever shade of political persuasion you have, that the whole country is behind actually doing something about this and putting money into doing something about this. I don't know what you can do. I don't know what the answer is. We've spoken about this before. We didn't come up with any solutions. And Tish has said what we're all thinking, I think, which is disgusting, horrible, and so sad. And John has just said, watch this video after B4B, and that's been posted. Your thoughts on London, gentlemen?
When you go, oh, right, okay. Well, there was a policeman, and that poor policeman took on 3 of them with big, long knives. And what did he have for his protection? A baton. A baton. That policeman was eventually knifed. Okay? Serious. Now, what if he had been carrying a sidearm, a small pistol, and he pulled it out, shot the first one, shot the second one, and shot the third one? Do you think he would have been knifed? I don't think he would have, because he would have had that protection. And I think, listen, we had it in Northern Ireland, the policeman, and I met one brave policeman over there who refused to carry a weapon. All the other policemen, well, not the woman, all the policemen carried weapons, a sidearm minimum, because they knew their life was at threat. They could have been walked up and shot any time, and they knew it. So could our policemen. We're in the same boat, and I'm afraid it's time for wringing the hands, and the old Dixon of Dock Green is gone. Gone. It's a new policeman now. Picture this, in my city of Aberdeen, going to the shops, somebody comes in with some sort of weapon, starts going crazy. We've got British Transport Police next to it, and we've got ordinary police. If they had a gun, it would soon be put, they would have something to fight back with, rather than depending on the public throwing glasses and throwing chairs, which is very brave. But if a local policeman pulls out his gun, I think it will be taken care of far quicker.
Now, I asked this question of Bobby who lives up the road from me, he doesn't want a gun. He says if he becomes armed, the villains will become even more often, and it will lead to anarchy, in his opinion. He thinks being unarmed is the best thing about our police. He said because the villains aren't as armed as they could be.
You go to New York, and there's at least 2 coppers on every corner. Probably since 9/11. So what? 12 years, 16 years, and that's probably over the top, but it's just their way of reacting to it. I mean, you know what? There's been about 1,300 people in America killed by gunfire since London. So I think that the case for arming special police in London, Manchester, Leeds, all the capital cities, Glasgow, Aberdeen, all the capital cities, big cities. Yeah, arm them.
No, but you see, if I was a terrorist, I would say, now, hey, they've got gun people in London, they've got them in Manchester. Let's pick a little village where they're not expecting it. Let's go get them there. That's how they would think. I'm not expecting it this way over this little place called Aberdeen. Where is it? Nobody knows it. Because we've already had one terrorist at Aberdeen who is now in hell because he got killed, a young guy. But the thing is, they could strike anywhere where you're not expecting it. Going to a football match, going to a concert in a way out area. And that's what will happen. They'll just go elsewhere. It's time to have the police with guns. Now, a lot of the reasons why police don't want guns is, guess what? It's because if they do fire the gun, they've got to go through some paperwork and they're questioned and interviewed and asking why they shot, you know, all these things. That's why a lot of the police don't want to carry guns. But I think that most of the policemen would want some sort of weapons. No, most of them. Not them all, but most of them.
Yeah. I mean, we're never going to come up with an answer because better minds than us haven't. But I don't know. I mean, they said that there was reports of 50 bullets being fired.
46.
How many? 46.
46. Yeah. So all the time they're firing, they have to take account of when these guys are firing, they have to take account of the bullets they're firing.
Yeah, everything has to be accounted for.
Yeah.
So,
there's the other factor, of course, of those 46 bullets, one of them entered someone who was completely innocent.
Yes.
Yeah. He's getting better, though, I think. I think he's recovering.
Yeah. Regardless of whether he's getting better or not, it's still a factor that, you know, it's possible for people who are completely innocent to get caught.
I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that the 46 or whatever we used to dispatch these 3 bastards, and good on them. You know, I mean, the thing is, you talk about the outside cities, Peter. Yeah, but every attack has so far happened in London, Glasgow Airport, and Manchester. And as happened on Saturday, the call was made. You know, the emergency call was made. And then within 8 minutes, they were dead. That's pretty bloody good going for a city that doesn't routinely arm the police. So
they do now. London does. They know. They must. The height that they were on, it wouldn't happen in my city.
Yeah, but the thing is, look back to the Westminster one, where you had the police on the gates of Parliament. They weren't armed.
No, that's why he's dead.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's in Parliament, of course. Some of them were armed because he did get shot. So somebody had to have a gun at Parliament.
No, the one at Parliament, it was luck. The one at Parliament, the guy that shot him was actually a close protection officer, one of the MPs, one of the cabinet, and they happened to be in the area. That's what happened there. The poor Bobby on the beat, standing watching with the tourists, etc. he may have been living today if he'd had a sidearm, pulled it out and shot him.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. So now, what you could say to the police and say, listen, we're becoming a service where you're carrying a pistol. However, you may opt out if you wish to. Because that happened. And I met, as I say, in Northern Ireland, I met a brave policeman, older policeman, who didn't carry a gun. And don't know what happened to him, but a very brave man, I would say, in the situation it was at the time. You know? Yeah, so, but then, what do you do with 24,000 people that are unknown to be sympathisers?
How do you square off that thing about they know that they are terrorists? They know, but not enough to know that they can charge them and jail them and whatever. What would you do? What would you do? Where's your level of?
Well, I'll tell you what they'll do. Have you heard of Tommy Robinson?
Yeah. Right.
Do what they do to him. Persecute him every day of his life. That's what they do. That man can't move anywhere. He gets picked up. He goes to Folsom and he gets picked up. He goes to Cambridge and the police come in. He's sitting there with his children to go to a football match, and they come in and they hounded him. Go and watch the video. They hounded him out of Cambridge. He's going to wait to take a chief constable to court for harassment. He says, I'm here to see a football match. We don't want you in our city. And the police marched him out with his kids. His kids were crying. Do the same to the same with 24,000, because that's all they're doing. They're saying, we support ISIS, that's fine. We're going to harass you now then. So why can they do it to him and they can't do it to them? Because he's never done anything wrong. He's beat them in court every time. It cost him £20,000 last time. And I'll tell you what, since he's written his book and what the police have done to him, it's called The Enemy of the State. Go and have a read it. Read it and cry and weep, because the man has been persecuted. He's now on the mainstream media. They're taking him on. He's got a say now on what's happening. And what he was saying is happening. It's happening. And people are taking note now. And it cost him £20,000, and people from Canada, because they've got a problem too, they paid his court costs. Otherwise he was in jail. And the judge threw them out. And the police should be ashamed of the way they've hounded that man. So what they've done to him, write a book in it and say, right, let's do the same to these 24,000 people and give them the same. Because he's watched everywhere he goes.
Well, we've had 33 minutes now. Can we find something more interesting? I mean, more, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Who pulled the plug on the British Airways debacle?
Well, I heard today that one poor engineer's getting the blame for pulling the plug.
He's not even an employee, he's a contractor. So what are they going to do?
It's fake news. It's just fake news, because the business continuity market, where you can't actually pull a bloody plug out and bring the whole of the infrastructure down.
It's not a rubbish, for God's sake.
Yeah.
It just does not work like that. Anyone with any IT knowledge knows that that's just rubbish.
What do you think it is then?
Incompetence.
I don't know what it was. Nobody knows.
The truth is, we will probably never know. And the truth is, British Airways probably don't really know.
Well, they've outsourced everything, haven't they? So it'll be something to do with their outsourcing. And here he comes. Here's our leader.
Right. Okay.
He's our resident SQL programmer.
Indeed. I'm a coder, so I know all the answers about software. Bugger all about nothing about hardware. The thing is that the stories going around are unbelievable. The consultants who are in the know are rubbishing the stories as they arrive, and they're just trying to make excuses. The Grand Master of British Airways, who's now running a higher level company, hasn't shown up. It's been fronted by the MD, and he knows little about technology, it would appear, and he's saying what he's been told to say. the thing is that it did affect I mean, it's way down from what we were talking about earlier, but it did affect 75,000 people. And as far as publicity is concerned, it's bad publicity. And the fact that they won't tell us what happened is bad publicity. And the longer they drag this on, the worse it's going to get. Now, they do have an investigation going on within the company, which obviously they'll have to publicise the results of. So we'll have to wait for that to come out. But I would suggest that they need to get some answers, credible answers, out before long. Now, something else that happened this week, I'm going to go to our Mac expert, as you've just been called out for being an SQL programmer. Did you actually watch it, Stephen?
I suppose I ought to be honest. Yes. I was sitting here in my comfy chair watching the keynote from WWDC, and once they'd gone through Mac Watch OS, I fell asleep.
It was so exciting, eh?
I was so bored. The bit I was watching out for was the announcement on the MacBooks, which took about 30 seconds. You know, they're just going up to the latest processors.
Yeah. And that's a $5,000 piece of kit, isn't it?
It's no, the new Mac Pro will be
all right. Yeah,
$5,000. Yeah, so that probably means £6,000. But I don't know if I was tired or anything. But as I said, I mean, my Sue always sort of leaves the room when these things come on, because you can't see why people are getting so excited over a computer in the way that, as you know, they do. But I just there was no announcement about the iPhone 8, which will come out in September. But no, I mean, as I said, I'm not an Apple Watch person. Not really an iPad person, because I've got my MacBook and I've got my iPhone. So I was bored with it.
I mean, call me a Luddite. I can't see the point of these watches.
No, me neither.
Because the screen is so small.
Anyway.
John?
Me, since I've had one of these, I don't wear one any longer. And I've got a very, very, very nice watch that Celia bought me about 25 years ago that sits in the drawer at home.
I think you have to have an iPhone to have a working watch.
Yep.
They talk to each other. And they were when it came to the watch, they were talking about the way that you can use it when you're swimming, you can use it when you go to the gym, you can talk to the gym piece of kit that you're working on. I'm thinking, well, okay, maybe I ought to go to the gym. No, I don't think I'll bother. So I just don't need a watch. I don't need it. That's just me. I like the biggest selling smartphones watch, so who knows?
Yeah. But I mean, there was a time when the Apple event was an annual must-go-see.
Oh, absolutely.
Even for non-Mac people, because we wanted to know what was going to be copied by the Japanese and Koreans, but even now, I mean, the best show in town at the moment would appear to be Samsung. He said, getting his Samsung phone. Well, because they do know how to put on the show. Yes, John. Yes.
Mine's only an S7 though.
Who's got an A10? Is it the Samsung?
The Diddy one.
The what?
The smaller one.
The tablet. No, the tablet thing.
Tablet.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
10-inch tablet.
That'd be an A2 probably. We
A4, A2. I don't know. But we always have this sort of Siri versus Google. I don't know what it's called on Google. You just talk to it and it comes up with information. And the Android one is so much better than Siri. But I don't know what they're going to do to improve. I really don't.
Well, part of the WWC was the total revamp of Siri, and to give her independence as well as a little speaker thing like.
Oh yeah.
Dot. So I think you'll see some massive leap forwards in Siri, to be honest.
Really?
Cortana, of course, is the other competitor on Windows 10, and that is actually quite good.
What's the name of that one, John?
Cortana.
Cortana, okay.
If you've got a Windows 10 PC, it says type here to search in the bottom left-hand corner, and there's a little picture of a microphone. And if you click the microphone, Cortana will listen to you.
All right, okay.
Cortana's a character in a Microsoft game. That's where the name came from.
All right. Well, I have.
They picked it to appeal to the younger audience.
Okay.
Because they think old farts like us don't want to talk to our computers.
No. Well, I've yet to get a phone that'll do what it's told of me when I speak to it. Because Willie, when we're out in the van, you want to see the abuse I give a phone when I try to get something, by asking it. He just, I won't repeat what I say, but it's some fun, I'll tell you.
Well, on Windows 10 Cortana, on your PC, Cortana is pretty damn good. You can say, show me on a map where I am, and it'll bring up Bing Maps and show you where you are. Okay,
yeah. And is that going to go on their phones too?
It's been on Windows phones longer than it has as part of Windows.
Yeah. Well, no, I've decided I'm not buying an iPhone again. I'm not buying expensive phones anymore. I'm just going to get something that takes a text, does an email, and does some data. That's it. End of.
Well, I tend to buy at the tail end of the model. Yeah. So the price has already dropped. The new model's coming out. And they always do everything I want anyway.
Do you tend to buy a new phone on its own, or do you go for a contract?
I go for a contract.
Why?
Well, it just drips out every month, doesn't it? Instead of one big lump sum. But my eldest lad, Tom, he's on his second buy the phone and buy a cheap thing. And he doesn't seem to have any problem. He's got the latest Google phone.
Okay.
He actually buys Google's own phone.
I just bought a new phone for Willie because he drops them. So I says, bought him a phone.
My wife has a cheap and nasty candy bar because she doesn't use the internet. She doesn't know what texting is. She wants to press the button and answer the phone when someone calls her and be able to make the odd phone call. So she's got a Nokia C2, which changed hands for about £40.
It's amazing. I know what I like. My partner's the same with phones. It's when they realise what a phone can do, and you see the difference in them, and what they can do. I mean, I've heard WhatsApp going all this morning, early morning. It's not mine. I don't use WhatsApp. She uses WhatsApp. And all these things in the technology and using the phone as a sat nav and all these sorts of stuff.
Phil, my middle one, he is really technologically sound. He's just spent £400 on a video card, just a video card to go in his PC. But he still uses a candy bar because he's not into text. He's not into the internet while he's out and about.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So,
fascinating.
Courses for courses, isn't it?
Who knows what they're going to do?
I'd like to know from Lord Red how Stoke managed to steal Darren Fletcher.
Okay, you're going to be really disappointed then, John, because I don't know what you're talking about.
Mr. Fletcher, the best player at West Bromwich Albion, has joined Stoke.
Since when?
Tuesday.
Ooh.
On a free.
On a free? Well...
He was at the end of his contract at the Albion.
Who did we buy from Albion about 6 months ago? We paid a fortune for him.
Berahino.
Yeah, and we've not used him. So
crap at Albion, and he'll be crap at Stoke. But you have got one of the best players around. He's mature. Okay, he's 30-something odd, but he's a real leader.
What is he in defence or attack?
He's a midfield player. He's been Albion's captain for the last 2.5 years, and he was a Man United player before that. And I think it's a really smart move by Sparky, yeah.
Good. Well, thanks for that.
For the benefit of the people watching, and this is when my eyes glaze over, I'll be back.
It's not that bad, is it, Pete?
That gives me an in to talk about the other sport.
No!
Don't you dare mention that bloody cricket word.
Which is tennis. It's actually
bad.
I just want to say that we have a tennis player who is Scottish, but also British, and he's still British because he's in the semi-finals of the French Open in Paris, and wish him well in those matches. Now, just for a moment, John, if you'll excuse me, I just want to bring a graphic up and just talk about it. So I'm going to stay here for a second.
It's not got anything to do with cricket, has it?
It's nothing to do with cricket. Now, we've been broadcasting quite happily. I can't hear you, John. We've been broadcasting quite happily for 80 weeks on here and enjoying ourselves and having fun every Thursday morning at 10 o'clock. What we're trying to do is encourage more people to go live on live video on Facebook. And there is a new initiative from BeLive.tv, and that's where we are today. I don't know why I'm doing the hand gestures. The only thing that's on the screen at the moment is the card. The BeLive TV, the new venture called BeLive in 5, it's open to anybody who's not broadcast before, and it's a personal mentor program. Now, my interest in this is that Daniel and Safria of BeLive TV actually commissioned this, and this is an official BeLive.tv production. And it's very simple. There is a Udemy course, which is free to everybody. And it's authored by myself and Tina. And basically the course leads you through how to do BeLive.tv face-to-face, and how to set up your camera, how to troubleshoot, how to use the agenda, how to do comments. And in addition to that, you get, and this is the magic behind the whole thing, you actually get a free, can you recognize one of those pictures, Stephen? Or two of them, possibly, or three? You actually get a mentor, and mentor will help you in a private 15-minute session to go through operating BeLive.tv so that you can go live for the first time on Facebook. And I'll bring the picture a bit bigger so that everybody can recognize the gentleman top left and the gentleman with him. That's myself and Peter. And we're also, Tina is helping me run the whole thing. And we're joined by Brigetti and April and David Vaughan, and by the other David Burrows, and a watchful eye of Daniel Meyer, the CEO of BeLive.tv. So if you are new to broadcasting, check out this program, the BeLive in 5 program, which will take you live in a quarter of an hour. The course is free, the mentorship is free, everything is free, and it's now time to bring back Peter and John. That's the advert over. That's our sponsors, BeLive TV. And we'll catch you when Peter gets back. Now bring Peter back. And we're looking forward in the coming months. I mean, this is not a short-term program. This is a program that's going to be ongoing. We're just getting going. We've got 775 students on our Udemy course. It means we're off to a flying start because it was only released last Friday. We've got our first 3 people going through the mentoring program at the moment. So it bodes well for getting people live in 2017, which was my aim at the beginning of the year. And with that, the show will resume back to its Blabbing for Britain format as I ask the question or pose the point that a scientific survey today, and I'm happy about this because I certainly have an egg every day, but an egg every day appears to help young children grow taller. Do we believe that or not?
Well, I should have ate an egg when I was younger because I'm 5'5", and I hate being a dwarf. No, that's one of the things in life. I hate being small. I mean, every time I go for trousers, it costs me a fortune. I've got £7 at the tailor to take the hem up, and then I send over the cuttings so people can make coats from them for smaller people.
Well,
that was the pig meat tribe. I send them there.
To answer the question that Steve posed, I used to have chickens. We used to look after chickens, and we were inundated with eggs, and they would, we still do that. So we really enjoyed that. But we've got quail now, and the eggs are about 1/6 of the size of a chicken egg. So yeah. I'm not sure. It depends which egg you're talking about, Peter, Stephen, Olive. But I always remember, almost every time I have an egg, Edwina curry. Edwina curry. Do you remember back in the
that's exactly what came to mind.
90s.
Salmonella.
Yeah. That's the one, yeah. I also remember being in Croydon when I heard about Edwina and a Prime Minister, but that's another story. But I think they're brilliant. I think they're brilliant.
I like an egg. There's nothing.
We've kept chickens for 30 years. We haven't any at the moment, but for 30 years. When we bought the house, there was 30 chickens in the garden that came with the house.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of eggs and a lot of other stuff, John.
Well, the fox wiped the entire lot out in one night.
Jesus.
Yeah.
We lost one for a fox.
Have you ever heard of an egg banjo?
No.
You seem to be very sort of slow, Peter.
Okay, right. I'll try and speak up a bit. Right, have you heard of an egg banjo? Right.
Yeah.
No. Okay. So that tells me you've never been a soldier. So an egg banjo is very famous in the British Army. So one of the things we really loved out in exercise, when you got the chance, you got fresh eggs delivered to your tank. It doesn't matter where you are. And you would fry it up and you would put it in to a sandwich and you would eat your egg like this. Now, where the banjo came in, if it was too hot, and all you take it down, you would go like that, right? And that was why it was called an egg banjo. Because you went like that when it was too hot with your hand. So that's another little one. But that's the truth. Egg banjo. Famous meal in the British Army. We loved an egg. Go to work in an egg. Do you remember that advert?
Back in the day.
And the lion.
Which lion?
Yeah, go to the lion. No, I just love it. And I used to have chicken foo young from the Chinese, and it was basically a massive omelette. They don't really do them anymore up here.
Yeah.
And
now,
they don't affect your cholesterol.
We have brown eggs primarily, yeah, and a white egg is unusual. And where Tish is, it's the other way round. It's all white eggs and a brown egg is really unusual.
Yeah, yes. No, it's a good. No, a lot has been a bit of controversy if you eat too much eggs, it's not good for your cholesterol. But they find out that's not true. I've got very high cholesterol, and this is about stop eating eggs. He goes, no, that's debatable. He says you can still eat your eggs, but don't eat too much of them. But lovely. Now, how do you cook and eat a quail's egg? That's what I want to know.
You
boil it.
Oh yeah, you boil them, and then it's a bugger to get the shell off. There's a really quite thick membrane compared to a chicken egg. So yeah, you try and scramble them. You've got to put about 10 in to get equivalent of 2 eggs or 2 chicken eggs.
Well, for me, it wouldn't be worth eating a little egg like that. Do you get little egg cups for them?
No,
someone
you can, but
I bet you get them on eBay.
Take the top off, and you've lost. It's not even a handful.
We eat. I used to eat duck's eggs.
They're big.
Big duck. I wonder what it'd be like eating an ostrich egg.
It's interesting. It's interesting. It's a very eggy taste. It's a lot more intense than a chicken egg. That's why.
So you've had one then?
Yeah, we had a few a while back. But no, we didn't have ostriches, but we did try one. Tish is saying that she.
Oh, I like that.
What does Tish say? She
buys them half and half brown, half white.
And they have this thing in the States, according to housewives of some place, that they just have egg white omelettes.
Right.
I thought that was called
white. No, we must go through some eggs, you know. I've got a friend in my business network. They've opened a farm where all the birds get to walk about, the real free range eggs.
My eldest got 4 in the back garden, and Stephen's got them in the back garden as well. T'other Stephen.
Is that right? Yeah. Yes, that's right. No, it's great to see them walking about, and I used to see them. I used to go to places where they were stuck in the battery farms, and it was a shame. I didn't like seeing that.
I'm going to talk about football again. Warning.
All right, okay.
Just to let you know, and I will be quick as possible, Peter, but English football seems to be on and up. For the last 2 under-20s World Cups, we've never won a match. Today, we're in the semi-final against Italy at 12 o'clock. So it looks like English football, with the under-20s certainly, is on the up. End of football.
Very good. I see that women's football does really well, and you get some good games by the looks of it. It's just a shame they can't get the same promotion, within it.
Well, they're odd as well. They have 2 seasons a year. Did you know that? The Women's Football League has a spring season and a winter season and a late winter season.
All right, okay, yeah. Well, I used to do judo. That was my sport that I'd done many years ago. Cycling was my sport until my heart gave out on me. I left my heart
on his bicycle.
On my bicycle. Yeah. So
it's going to be retired soon, isn't it, Pete? And then you'll be back on your bike.
Next week, Steve, I didn't realise Stephen did it. I mean, it's open now. I'm not worried about it now. But no, the thing I was trying to get fit on my bike, the thing nearly killed me, and it's quite amazing. So Pete's tip is, if you are feeling unwell on a bike, get yourself checked out. Don't be scared to tell them that you want an ECG, you want an angiogram. Just tell them that you're wanting checked. It's your life, not theirs. Because it took 3 attempts for me to find out that I had a heart problem, So yeah, if in doubt, shout out. End of.
Sorry, Stephen. Oh. We've been shouting out. I was hoping to pop in when you were talking about eggs, because I was going to say it was very exciting, and with exactly 2 minutes to go, but with exactly 1 minute to go now. So, in tradition, I'm going to say thank you to everybody for watching. John's going to do the outro in a moment, but first, Peter and Stephen, your call to action for everybody, and then, it's been a great show. See you soon.
Come on then, Peter, your call to action.
Right, call to action, right. Well, thank you very much for everybody that's enjoyed me on the show. But next week, I want you to think of me exactly at this time, because I will be unconscious, lying on an operating table, getting a triple heart bypass. So if you pray for me, and I hope to see you the following week. So take care, everybody, and as I say, I hope to see you again. Bye-bye.
Next Thursday.
Yeah.
And
on here, I'll be out to the world.
All your friends want to say is, but yeah, we didn't know you needed that. But secondly, you just make sure you get better and come back fighting fit. So we want you back, right? We want you back. And the only other thing I would say is, just bloody vote, and just vote. Just vote. Vote early and often. So do that.
I've got three things in my outro. Please vote today. It is important. The second is, Peter, I hope it all goes well, and I'm looking forward to talking to you. I'm not sure whether I will be able to talk to you the week after, because I'm actually on holiday. And my last one, promise not to call you Lord Red after today.
Brilliant. You're going to close us down, Pete, Stephen. Yeah.
Oh, so it's goodbye from the man at the back. Goodbye from the man up top left, because he might be in a totally different position for you. Goodbye from Scotland. And I hope the SNP only get 43 seats. And goodbye from me in the middle of England. Bye.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.